Hi, Taehyung Lovers. Welcome back to the Taehyung Lovers channel all around the world. And this time, don't you dare skip the first 3 seconds, because what you're about to see is not just ordinary K-pop content. This is the most sensitive, most rarely touched side of the life of a global icon named Kim Taehyung. April 2026. A photo appeared without warning. An unfamiliar face. A calm gaze, but that's exactly what shook the world. Within seconds, the global public exploded with one unstoppable question. Who is she? And even more shocking, why has she been hidden all this time? The name Kim Taehyung once again dominated worldwide trends, but not because of a comeback, not because of stage performance, but because of something far deeper. Family. A woman believed to be his younger sister suddenly went viral without ever choosing to be known. And this is where everything changed. This is no longer just a K-pop rumor. This touches the most private boundary of a global idol. In this video, we will uncover rarely discussed facts, the emotional side that has long been hidden, and the reason why this moment left the world in silence, and might even make you question how we see a star. Key points we will discuss. Who exactly is the mysterious woman who went viral in April 2026? Old facts about Kim Taehyung's childhood that have resurfaced. A surprising confession about feeling jealous of his younger sister. Why family has always been a forbidden zone for the public. And most importantly, is this the biggest privacy leak in K-pop right now? This video is not just about something viral. This is about boundaries, about respect, and about the human side that we often forget from an idol as big as Kim Taehyung. So make sure you watch until the end, because at the end of the video, there is one fact that might change the way you see everything. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, and share this video as much as possible, so the world doesn't just see the sensation, but also the kindness and sincerity of Kim Taehyung. April 2026. A photo appeared without warning. An unfamiliar face. A calm gaze. And within seconds, the global public was immediately triggered by one unstoppable question. Who is she? Amid the whirlwind of curiosity exploding across platforms, the name Kim Taehyung once again dominated global conversations. But this time, not because of his role as performer, not because of artistic achievements, but because of the most private circle in his life that has rarely been touched. Family, the woman in the photo, strongly suspected to be his younger sister, suddenly became the center of global attention without ever choosing to be there. The circulating photos show a young woman with a charm that is not flashy, but impossible to ignore. Her face is soft, her expression calm, yet her gaze carries a depth that sparks curiosity. She is not wearing anything excessive, not trying to stand out. Yet precisely because of that, the public is even more captivated. In a world accustomed to luxury and dramatization, simplicity like this feels almost unusual, and that is where the appeal is formed. In a short time, social media turned into a global discussion space filled with speculation. Some praise her beauty, some try to trace her identity, and many began connecting fragments of old information that were previously considered irrelevant. Names like Kim Eun Jin or Kim Eun Jin resurfaced, accompanied by various unverified claims. However, to this day, there has been no official confirmation that truly clarifies who she is. This uncertainty has instead become the fuel that continues to amplify the phenomenon. Amid the noise, old narratives about Kim Taehyung's life have resurfaced, narratives that reveal the most human side of a global figure. On several occasions, he once shared stories about his childhood. Far from luxury, he grew up in modest conditions, far from the glamorous life now attached to him. Even in a joking yet honest tone, he once admitted feeling jealous of his younger sister, who often received branded clothes, while he had to settle for simple brands like Supremo and Nice. At first glance, that statement may sound light, but for those who understand his life journey, it carries a much deeper meaning. It is not just about clothing. It is a reflection of childhood reality, of limitations, of feelings that are not always directly expressed. And now, as the world looks again at the figure believed to be his younger sister, that story feels like it has gained a new dimension. Because today, everything has changed. Kim Taehyung is no longer a boy who can only compare or feel lacking. He has become a symbol of global success with BTS, a group that not only dominates the music industry, but reshapes how the world sees K-pop. But behind all that, the greatest transformation has happened quietly. He has become someone who can provide, protect, and ensure that his family no longer has to experience the same limitations. This journey is not just about economic change, but emotional evolution, about how someone carries memories of the past as fuel to build a better future, about how love for family is not always shown through words, but through real actions often unseen by the public. His relationship with his younger sister has long been described as warm. He is known to be highly protective of his family, shielding them from media exposure with a discipline rarely seen in today's digital era. On many occasions, he has subtly yet firmly emphasized that there are boundaries that should not be crossed, that not every aspect of his life is for public consumption. And that is precisely why this appearance feels so shocking. This is not just about an idol sibling. This is a moment where the line between public and private becomes blurred. On one hand, the public feels a strong emotional connection to Kim Taehyung. They follow his career, understand his story, and feel part of his narrative. But on the other hand, there is a reality that cannot be ignored, that behind all of it, there is a personal life that was never meant to be a spectacle. This phenomenon has grown into something more complex. It is no longer just curiosity, but a test of collective ethics. How far does the public have the right to know? Where is the boundary between appreciation and invasion? And can curiosity be justified when it touches clearly protected territory? Mainstream media, based on international journalism standards, tend to take a more cautious approach. No confirmation is published without clear verification. Many reports use neutral and careful language, reflecting a commitment to accuracy and ethics. But on the other hand, social media moves at a different pace, faster, more emotional, and often without filters. That is where the main conflict happens. A figure who may have never wanted attention suddenly becomes the center of the world. An identity once protected begins to be openly debated. And in that process, the public is unknowingly confronted with a reflection of themselves. How they react to mystery, how they treat others' boundaries, and how they balance curiosity with respect. April 2026 ultimately became more than just a viral moment. It became a global point of reflection, a reminder that behind every public figure, there is a human being with a life not always meant to be shared, that not every story must be revealed, not every mystery must be solved. And perhaps that is where the true power of the story lies, not in what is seen, but in what remains hidden, not in the answers found, but in the questions left hanging. In a world that constantly demands openness, the choice to maintain silence becomes something increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. As the wave of speculation slowly fades and public attention shifts elsewhere, one thing remains, a feeling that something is unfinished, not because of lack of information, but because of the realization that perhaps not everything is meant to be known. And in the midst of it all, Kim Taehyung remains where he stands, as a global star, as a son, as a brother, who chooses to protect, even as the world continues trying to see further. A simple choice, yet in times like these, it feels almost revolutionary. And this is where the story doesn't truly end. April 2026 leaves one unanswered question. Who is she and how far should the world go to find out? Behind all the speculation, one thing remains clear. Kim Taehyung chooses to protect, not to explain. And perhaps that is what makes everything feel deeper, quieter, yet more unsettling. Thank you for watching until the end. If you feel this content open a new perspective, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. But if not, feel free to skip, because the Taehyung Lovers channel never forces anyone. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Is this just public curiosity, or has it crossed the line of privacy? Write your thoughts in the comments. One last hook you need to remember, this isn't over. The next fact could surface at any time, and when it does, not everyone will be ready to accept it. Stay tuned for the latest updates only on Taehyung Lovers. Keep following everything about Kim Taehyung only on this channel. Thank you, stay safe, and see you next time.